Budget making is not a one-stop or a one-stage exercise. It's also limited by the fact that the budget speech cannot run into hours. We have to limit our speech to about an hour and 45 minutes or so. Therefore, what we do on budget day is to only lay out a plan and priorities that concern the most essential issues. And in the budget speech, refer only to the main items. The speech is not made to any particular section, say like industry. It's not made to a particular section like agriculture. The speech is addressed to the whole of India. And there are many, many, many different sections of people who have an interest in the speech and therefore deserve to be addressed in a suitable way. Therefore, no particular section's concerns alone can be addressed in a speech. Having regard to all these limitations, I say and I maintain that budget making is not a one-stop or a one-stage exercise. It's a continual process. More work is being done. And when I reply to the debate on the budget, the general discussion on the budget, there will be some more announcements. And then when we reply to the finance bill, there will be some more announcements. Therefore, a number of decisions which are in the making, are in the process of being taken, will be announced in Parliament. Now, having said that, one must look at the budget for 2013-14 in terms of what the objectives were. What were my objectives? The first objective was to signal to the world and to India that we are on the path of fiscal consolidation. In my view, there was nothing more important than that. We were at a point where if we did not declare our commitment to fiscal consolidation and did not take credible measures towards fiscal consolidation, there would be very severe consequences. The first objective was fiscal consolidation, and I believe that we have kept our promise. We have contained the fiscal deficit at 5.2 this year. When the actual numbers come, it may even be slightly better than 5.2. And for next year, we have kept the fiscal deficit at 4.8. The second major concern was, and this is part of the fiscal consolidation, is that we have to finance the current account deficit. Unfortunately, the current account deficit has not been in focus until recently. The budget documents don't reflect anywhere the current account deficit. The current account deficit is a number that is on the books of the Reserve Bank of India and on the papers of the Department of Economic Affairs. We have never debated the current account deficit in the manner that we have debated the fiscal deficit or the revenue deficit. But today, the current account deficit is a more worrying deficit. While the fiscal deficit is indeed a matter of concern, the current account deficit is the more worrying deficit. In order to address the current account deficit, the surest way is to increase exports. We have to export to pay for our imports. Whether we import oil or coal or edible oils or pulses or capital goods or technology, we have to pay for those imports. And the only way a country can pay for those imports is by increasing exports. But exports won't increase overnight, especially in a constrained world economy, but many countries of the world are actually contracting. It's naive to expect that exports will increase dramatically in the short run. Therefore, I said, when the Commerce Minister announces the changes to the foreign trade policy by the end of March, we will stand fully with him to ensure that enough incentives and support are given to our exporters to export. But immediate term, I have to ensure that the foreign inflows are adequate and robust. Otherwise, the current account deficit cannot be financed. Therefore, the second objective was to ensure that there is enough inflows of foreign investment, be it FDI or FII. There must be copious flows of foreign investment. Today, we do not have the luxury to debate whether we want foreign investment or we don't want foreign investment. That's why I said in my speech, foreign investment is an imperative. We do not have the choice of either welcoming or spurning foreign investment. We have to ensure that foreign investment flows into India. That was a second objective, and I believe enough signals have been given regarding foreign investment. We have to make and keep India an attractive destination for foreign investment. A number of steps have been announced in the budget that will make it easier for foreign investors to invest in rupee instruments. For example, we have simplified the KYC process. We have reduced the withholding tax on infrastructure bonds, and we've allowed foreign investors to hedge rupee positions. This is an ongoing process. In the coming days and weeks, we will examine other concerns that I've heard from foreign investors, including rationalizing the tax withholding treatment on a variety of instruments. Chairman SEBI has informed us that he will convene shortly a meeting of foreign institutional investors from around the world to discuss their outstanding issues. As I said, reform is a continuing process, and we intend to move forward involving all stakeholders. We have also engaged extensively with foreign investors, which include FIIs, pension funds, and sovereign wealth funds, to share with them the emerging opportunities for investing in India. I did so in my meetings in Singapore, Hong Kong, Frankfurt, and London. There was a tremendous response to the policy measures taken by government before I went abroad, and I believe there will be an equally warm response to the measures that we have announced in the budget. During my meetings, the investors raised some concerns, many of which we have addressed. Some we are addressing. I intend to continue to engage with investors. I intend to travel to Mumbai shortly, and thereafter, in the month of April and May, I intend to visit Japan, Canada, and the United States to engage with foreign investors. The third objective was to restart the growth engine. Now, the growth engine, for some reason, is sputtering. Industry is better placed to tell me why they are shy of investing. Public sector companies are sitting on piles of cash. Private business houses are also sitting on piles of cash. I'm in constant touch with the bankers. While some inquiries have begun to come to bankers, I'm told there is not a flood of inquiries. We need to get the growth engine going. We need to get the investment process restarted. In the next few weeks, I will travel to the major metropolitan industrial and business centers like Mumbai, Chennai, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Kolkata, and of course the NCR area, and talked to groups of industrialists to find out why investments are not taking place. In order to incentivize investment, we have reintroduced the investment allowance. Please remember, the investment allowance has not been there for many years. It was a difficult decision. Do we reintroduce the investment allowance? And we said yes. The point that Mr. Godrej made, the investment allowance can be claimed not after you complete your investment or after you commence your project. The investment allowance can be claimed on whatever you invest in the 2 years. So if you have a project of 500 crore and in 2 years you've invested only 300 crore, you can claim the investment allowance on those 300 crore. Along with depreciation, the investment allowance means that you recover 115 rupees for every 100 rupees that you invest. There are a number of other measures which have been announced in the budget that are intended to stimulate investment. More are under consideration and more will be announced in Parliament at the appropriate time. These were the three main objectives of the budget. Of course, there are a whole host of objectives, and if I begin to speak on every one of them, I'm afraid I'll have to hold you up for many, many hours. These are the three main objectives of the budget. As far as the financial and business sector are concerned, there are, of course, other objectives. A budget is not only concerned about the financial market and the industrial sector. The budget is concerned about agriculture. The budget is concerned about self-employment and employment. The budget is concerned about the socio-economic objectives, the concerns of the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes, the minorities, youth, other backward classes, women. The budget also has a place for making statements of policy, to declare to the world what our policy approaches are on certain matters. For example, I set great store by women and youth, and therefore there are a number of statements that are addressing those sections, women and youth, some of which may appear to you symbolic, but I think they have great meaning and they will have a profound impact when they are rolled out. For example, the skill development program that we have announced, we are reorganizing the National Skill Development Corporation. It has done good work, but we think its work can be expanded many-fold. As an adjunct to the work of the NSDC, we want many, many more people involved in skill development. And if we can get 1 million young men and women taking up skill development in different institutes, bodies, and then appearing for a national test in that skill, and then if they pass the national test, we have promised them a certificate, of course, that they have passed the national test, along with a reasonable monetary reward, which will make them more employable and more productive. Likewise, for women, there are a number of initiatives. I would particularly mention the huge beneficial effects of a national bank for women. I'm happy that the 3 or 4 women who are heading banks, Chanda Kochar, Shikha Sharma, Vijayalakshmi Iyer, have all welcomed the National Bank for Women. So even if there are 1 or 2 snide comments, usually from men, I don't think we should worry about that. We should just go ahead with a National Bank for Women. I think I'll stop here. I'll take your questions. I could have responded to a couple of things which Ms. Kidwai said and Mr. Godrej said, Mr. Doot said, but I think rather than respond to them here, if there is a question on that, I shall certainly be happy to respond. Thank you.